Hello, my name is Paul Tobechukwezike, a Nigerian with a BVN, NIN, and international passport, and of course, national identity card. This letter or this message or this video is going to the President, Commander-in-Chief of Armed Forces, President of Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola, Ahmed, Tinubu. Dear sir, I pray this video or this message or this letter in video format gets to you in good faith. I'm here to bring to your notice a lot of things that are happening in the country of which you are presiding over, Nigeria, West Africa. The giant of Africa that right now is losing its credibility, losing its respect, losing its relevance amongst its peers, realistically speaking, because of a lot of things that are going on wrong. Mr. President, when you assumed the seat May 29, 2023, and you immediately removed the fuel subsidy, that singular decision, statement, and action has led to plenty of poverty in the land. Let me also remind us, which I believe you know, that fuel, petroleum, PMS, DPK, AGO, this product largely affects the standard of living of Nigerians. When fuel price is drastically increased to a higher rate or a higher price, what that means is that increase in transportation. I am speaking right now as a Nigerian. I'm speaking the mind of millions of citizens, which many people don't have the avenue or the platform to say, which some people are afraid of speaking up, which some people are ashamed of speaking up. Because why? They also campaigned for you and they also loved you. But the suffering, the poverty, the hardship in the land is crossing both from the north to the south, from the east and to the west. Increase in price of fuel has increased transportation. So an undergraduate, a civil servant, a trader that normally moves from point A to point B with 100 naira or 200 naira now has to spend 200 or 300 naira to also cover the same distance. That is increasing cost of transportation by 200 or 300%, whereas the person's income has not increased by 200 or 300%. This also goes to say that everything that has to do with petroleum in Nigeria, that has to do with fuel in Nigeria, will be grossly affected. Our manufacturing companies have doubled and tripled the cost of their product because, of course, they buy diesel with higher cost, and of course, they need to make profit. This has affected the standard of living in Nigeria. Also, Mr. President, I'm aware that you know, I'm telling you what is happening in the grassroots. The cost of cooking gas has drastically increased. The cost of kerosene has drastically increased. Everything has gone up, but salaries has not increased. The minimum wage of Nigerians is still 30,000 naira. The minimum wage is still 30,000 naira, but the expenses of Nigerians over the past 9 months have doubled, if not tripled, and that has led to plenty of poverty in the land. Mr. President, this increase in cost of fuel, cost of diesel, cost of raw materials and production has increased cost of living, Mr. President. One of the cheapest commodities in Nigeria is sachet water. Sachet water, which some people call pure water. In 2015, sachet water was what? 5 naira. Today, sachet water is what? 20, 30 naira per sachet. A lot of families cannot afford sachet water. World Health Organization says that you need at least 4 liters of water for you to be healthy on a daily basis. That means you need to spend at least 300 naira, 400 naira on potable drinking water for you to be healthy. So multiply that by a family of 2, 3, 4 and see that even water alone is higher than the daily income that a lot of parents, a lot of families are paid where they work. Mr. President, currently, a bag of cement is one of the principal materials in construction of buildings. Nigerians need to live because the 3 major things that everybody needs is feeding, clothing, and shelter. In terms of shelter, a bag of cement currently is between 8,000 naira to 9,000 naira, Mr. President. This is about 50% to 80% increase over the past 8 months. What will this lead to? It means increase in cost of rentage. So people that used to stay in a place of 200,000, 300,000 a year, they now have to pay higher because the landlords spends more money in building most of those houses. To the best of my knowledge, I don't know if the government have brought up a practical housing plan for its citizens so that people can have houses at cheaper rates or even for free, because of course the money used in building those houses is still the national treasure. Mr. President, everything in this country has increased. The cost of traveling on the highway has increased. The cost of traveling on the air has increased. Just 2 days ago, some Nigerians were abducted along Benin-Lagos Road, and 14 passengers were whisked away by adult nappers. Mr. President, increase in poverty has led to increase in insecurity and increase in what? Crime in the society that you are presiding over, Mr. President. Mr. President, my humble self, I said I am bitter to say, I am very, very unhappy to let you know, sir, that I watched the finals of my country playing against Ivory Coast with generator. And I believe that that is the story of 80% of Nigerians. 80% of Nigerians bought fuel, and the fuel was imported, bought fuel to watch their country, borrowed fuel, imported generator, imported electronics, television, imported decoder, and of course, imported DSTV and imported GoTV. Mr. President, we should be the giant of Africa. Right now, currently, the Ghanaians are even laughing at us and mocking us that the giant of Africa bought fuel to watch their country lose. That is the real thing happening on the streets. Mr. President, a lot of things are wrong right now. And I overheard your chief of staff, Mr. Agbemi, coming to say that the social media platform should be regulated. It is becoming a menace, according to his words. I watched it on video. And I want to say, well, if people are coming to social media to lie, if people are coming to social media to give wrong information, then of course social media should be regulated. But if Nigerians are coming to social media to say the truth, then social media should not be regulated. I, for one, I don't have direct access to you, Mr. President. I don't have access to the chief of staff directly. But social media platform is one of the ways that we communicate and we express ourselves, dear Mr. President and dear chief of staff. Dear chief of staff, I came up a tweet in 2014 when you were speaking your mind on your Twitter handle, and nobody arrested you and nobody put you in prison. Social media, amongst many other functions and many other uses, it's a way, one, of communication and campaign. During the presidential election, governorship election, and all the elections, all political figures use social media to campaign, use social media to promise us what they will do for us, use social media to campaign, use social media to make promises, and use social media to give out information and create awareness. That is a function of social media. Another function of social media is for us to hold our government, hold our politicians to book, and remind them of what they said during the campaign. Because social media, if I come to say, dear Mr. President, dear Chief of Staff, dear Governor, dear House of Reps member, look at when you said you are going to be giving me ₦1 million a month if you become president or if you become governor, and right now you are president and you're not fulfilling your promise. That is bringing politicians to book. And in a democratic setting, freedom of speech, freedom of expression is allowed. If he says that social media should be checkmate, that means he's going contrary to the constitution, because in the constitution there is freedom of speech, freedom of expression. So far, I'm not lying. Social media is one of the platforms where we come to express ourselves. Nigerians are angry. Most Nigerians are frustrated, dear Mr. President. Social media is one of the ways they come to say their mind. And if what they say is truth, then they shouldn't be put into prison. They should be listened to. Dear Mr. President, dear Chief of Staff, you are a father and you are a grandfather. And if your children and grandchildren are angry or unhappy with situations in the house and they come to social media to air their grievances, are you going to arrest them? No. You call them closer and listen to them. And if what they are saying is true, then you pay attention, because the job of a leader is to make the followers happy. The first job of a leader is to protect life and properties of citizens. Dear Mr. President, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, they are all self-regulated platforms. And in those platforms, there are automated fact-check facilities that if you say something and it is not true, they can flag down that video or they can tell you that this is wrong. So I think and I believe that those facilities are more up to date and more organized, more than most countries, even in Africa. So dear Chief of Staff, that policy doesn't what? It's not going to work out in the angle that what? Social media should be allowed as a means of communication. So if, for example, I come to the place and I see something happening right now and I report it on social media, is it a menace? No. What should be done? Is this information true? In the spirit of truth, in the spirit of integrity, all information on social media that we give out. Myself, I don't have any access to you, but I believe you're going to watch this video. And if what I said is truth, it calls for pondering, it calls for sober reflection, it calls for readjustments. And we shouldn't be boxed. Our mouth should not be sealed because we are trying to say what is happening. But of course, if somebody says what is not true, misleading information or lies, then let the law take its course. But constitution, there is freedom of communication, freedom of speech, and freedom of expression, and it is legal in every country of the earth because Nigeria is a democratic setting. Because during the campaign in 2014, 2015, I saw tweets from Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, from the current Chief of Staff, Mr. Femi, where he was saying his mind on what is happening in the country. Did anybody arrest him? Did anybody threaten him? The answer is no. So dear Mr. President, come to our aid before Nigerians take to the streets. The suffering is affecting everybody. If you want to doubt me right now, don't call your media aides. Call people on the street and take a statistics interview, random interview of 10 people. 8 people are suffering right now. They might be scared of speaking out like I'm speaking right now because I'm not scared of speaking out. They might be scared of speaking out. They might not have the platform to speak out like I'm doing right now, but they are suffering right now, dear Mr. President. Currently, most of our graduates are unemployed. Most companies have left Nigeria. A lot of people, their health is depreciating and deteriorating because most of the companies, GSK and others, they've left Nigeria. Most banks have shut down. The current exchange rate, Naira per dollar, is 1,500, Mr. President. And I believe you know what that means because everything in Nigeria, almost everything in Nigeria is imported. So Nigerians earn in Naira, peanuts Naira, and they spend in dollars. So the cost of living, dear Mr. President, is choking the living, sir. Currently, $1 is 1,500 naira, sir. A bag of rice is approaching 80,000 naira, sir. A cup of beans is 250 naira, sir. How many people can afford it? Bottled water that used to be 100 naira is currently 200 naira each. Sachet water that used to be 5-10 naira is 20-30 naira each right now. Mr. President, people are suffering. And we need to speak up. And as a father, you need to do something about it. Because you promised us that you are going to take care of us. You promised us that you're going to protect life, protect citizens. You promised us that you will make Nigeria better for us, Mr. President. You promised us that we'll be happy to be called Nigerians. A lot of Nigerians are running away right now. The Japa syndrome is on the increase. People are leaving Nigeria because of insecurity. People are leaving Nigeria because of better education. People are nurses, medical personnel are leaving Nigeria to foreign countries because they want to earn more money, dear Mr. President. Dear President, I also want to let you know that the performance of the Super Eagles in the last AFCON match tournament was poor, also due to what? The poor state of the nation. How do I mean? The footballer might be personally rich, but the footballer has family members. The footballer comes from a village that might be very insecure right now. The footballer has family members, uncles, aunties that might be suffering 1 or 2 medical challenges right now because of poor medical and poor health facilities in Nigeria. Mr. President, are you aware right now that a loaf of bread right now is more than 2,000 naira? How many families, 80% of families in Nigeria, cannot conveniently buy 1 loaf of bread every morning for breakfast for their children? I discovered this because one of my favorite breakfasts is akara and bread. Yes, bean ball and bread. I like drinking it with tea. Now, even akara, you see akara looking very, very tiny these days because beans, which is the raw material for production of akara, has become very expensive. Mr. President, a cup of beans right now is 200 naira. A cup of right now is 300 naira. A bag of 50 kilogram rice right now is 70,000 naira, which is double of the minimum wage of Nigeria. So the poverty in the land is directly and indirectly affecting everybody. I've said a lot in this video and I believe that you're going to do a lot. And dear Mr. Femi, if you are regulating social media to cut off lies, to cut off wrong information, it's a welcome development. But if it is to close mouth of people like me from saying the truth and bringing to the public awareness what is happening, that means you need to have a rethink. And if you regulate social media, we go into VPN and the whole world will really know what is happening to Nigeria and what is happening to the giant of Africa. God bless you. My name is Paul Ezike Tobejukwu. Bye.